Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Can you hear us? Yes.
Awesome.
Wait, I can take this off. Sorry.
Yeah, you should take that off. All right, so thank you so much for coming to this session. We know it's like the end of the day, and you might be tired, so we really appreciate that you're here. You're really troopers for being here, so thank you.
Yes, and you might be wondering why me and Nellie are themed in Barcelona colors.
In football colors.
In football
or
colors.
football or soccer.
Soccer
or football
for those,
in Europe.
US fans here. But we love our customers so much. So when we invite Genis, who's going to be our customer for today, he loves Barcelona, and so do we. And
yes. So this is how we support our customers. It goes beyond just the fabric product. That's basically what it's about.
Thank you. Nellie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. So my name is Nellie Gustafsson. I lead the product for data science and many of our AI experience in Microsoft Fabric.
And my name is Mohammad Ali. Float like a bee, sting like a butterfly is what they used to say at school. That's not the right way around, I know. I am the director for product for Power BI, so I look after the Power BI PM team. And we have an amazing set of topics today, right, Nellie?
Yes, we do.
And so I'll go for the agenda. So the first thing I'm going to cover today is the AI-powered experiences in Fabric. I'm going to briefly touch on Fabric, touch on Copilot. Everyone loves Copilot so much that we're going to spend time on it. And then we're going to go for a customer story. We're going to go show you how data agents are used in the real world. And then finally, we'll cover the thing that you guys are all here for. We save it at the end so you guys stay. We're going to cover the roadmap of where we're going as well.
Yes. So if you don't stay until the end, you won't hear about the roadmap.
And we're not going to publish it. This is not streamed or anything.
So you have to stay.
OK.
All right, I'll go hide here.
You can hide, and I'll call you back. Thank you, Nellie. I'm going to be talking about a lot of things today, but I just want to bring up the Microsoft Fabric slide. Microsoft Fabric is an end-to-end data platform that allows you to do everything with your data, from ingestion to bringing it into a data warehouse, to doing analytics, data science, machine learning, doing real-time intelligence, and then finally plotting your Power BI. And the focus of today is on the AI pieces of Fabric. We're not going to be focusing on just doing an end-to-end of Fabric. There was a session already that took place. Highly recommend you watch it. It was from Arun Ulag, the CVP for Microsoft Fabric and Azure Data. So when we talk about AI-powered experiences, there's like 3 key things inside Microsoft Fabric. There is Copilot Accelerated Experiences, that is GA, already GA'd, and it was GA'd, I think, a year ago. We have Chat with Your Data, this new experience that you saw Satya talk about that I'm going to show you a deeper dive demo, which is in public preview. And then finally, Nellie's going to go and show you building data agents and creating AI solutions. And that's also what Genis is going to go and talk to you about as well. Now, I'm just going to go through pillar by pillar and kind of go through where we are in our journey. And so for Copilot Accelerated Experiences, we did this study to just see how effective Copilot was for people and empowering them to do more creation with Copilot. And so these are just some of the numbers that we shared. We did an independent study that actually went through and see how users who were using Copilot, how much more productive they were than the users that didn't use Copilot. And so these are some of the numbers that we've shared before. And also, you may have seen this, but we didn't actually, we just released this, I think, April the 30th. But now you can use Copilot in Fabric using any Fabric license. Before it was targeted for F64. We've removed that limit, so you can now use it on F2, F4, any small SKU, large SKU. So this is really to help SMBs, partners, ISVs, SIs, all of you. And we hope you really enjoy using Copilot in these lower SKUs as well. So that's really what we did for the Copilot Accelerated Experiences. I'm not going to show a demo of that today, but if we have time, I'm happy to take questions on it. But now I'm going to focus on Chat with Your Data experiences. And the way I like to think about Chat with Your Data is it's like doing ChatGPT for the enterprise. It's like running and going through all of your data inside Power BI and in Fabric, and just quickly making sense of that data. And really, the goal or the persona that we're targeting is any user, any business user, HR manager, you've got your product managers, your finance team, your marketing team that we all love, and some people do not like. We have the legal teams, and we have the business development teams as well. And these are just all the personas. And you have your C-level execs. My boss loves to use Copilot as well, and so you want to make it work for them. And so you may have seen Satya talk about this. Satya announced today that we've released Chat with Your Data inside Power BI, a fully fledged experience. And I'm going to show you a demo of this that allows you to ask any question against all of your data that you have access to in a single pane of glass. And the same experience will be what you get inside Copilot, inside M365 Copilot. But I'm going to show you like how this works and how do business users make it work, and how do creators, people like developers, go in and actually set up their data for Copilot. So that's the first demo I'm going to show you. So here I am inside Power BI. This is hopefully familiar to some of you. You go into Power BI, you create reports, you create data sets. And if I play the demo, so this is just a normal report that I created around Hawaii tourism. There's a new prep your data for AI. When you click on it, you get this dialog box that will soon change to a better box, I hope. But it allows you to now configure your Copilot experience exactly the way you want. So I'm going to walk you through some of these options. So the first option that we allow you to do is configure the schema. So if you want to choose which columns Copilot can access and which ones it cannot, you can now directly give it that metadata by just ticking the box and saying, I don't want it to access these things. And the great thing is we are clever enough to pick out the relationships even if you hide it. So we'll still use relationships, but we will not give Copilot the data of these things so that it can better guide the answers. So this is what we call schema selection, or really configuring Copilot to be the best in making sure you don't expose values or conditional formatting that you really don't want Copilot to use. The second one, and the better way to show you the second one is I'm just going to click out the dialog. Imagine you have this beautiful visualization, but you want a specific question to fire off the visualization. You can do that now by creating something called a verified answer. So you can say, hey, when someone says spending per trip, this is the visualization I want you to return. And you can just provide it. You can also give it the list of dimensions you want it to be filtered by. And this is just a way of like Satya is trying to use Copilot, and he actually sent feedback to us today. And he's like, hey, I'm typing in this question, but I want this specific visualization. And this is a way of you really training and making sure Copilot gets the answer that you want. And this allows you to have a very safe view of releasing Copilot to your C-level execs, like our CEO, and make sure you get that. And the final one that I want to show you is we also have these things called AI instructions that allow you to give it context that you couldn't give it before. So an example here is like the busy seasons for the Hawaii tourism are between the months of March to October. I really can't remember what I said it as. But you can just set up context. And so when someone like Satya comes in and says, what is the busy sales period, it'll know to apply that filter immediately for you. So I'm going to hit close here. And now I've set up my data model for Copilot. Now, the final thing that you can do is, and I'm not sure if I actually showed this in my demo, but you can also test out and just confirm as a creator directly inside Power BI Desktop that it works. And so you can see here that it's returning me the answer to my question exactly the way I wanted it to, because this is what Satya is going to type. And I've got the result here. I can type in some follow-ups. And really, this is the developer's testing experience. I come in here and validate that it's working as expected before I go and publish this report into the Power BI service. And so this is the typical flow that we see many users doing. But the final thing that you can do, and I'm going to show you in the Power BI service, if you go into the Power BI service and click on that data set once you publish it, there's a new option that we're going to make available, or I think next week we're going to make it available, that if I click on the data set and I go into the settings dialog for this data set, you'll see that there's an option to actually label and say this data set is ready for AI. And by you doing that, you're basically making sure that this is the data set that is surfaced to Satya. We're all going to be writing reports for Satya in this demo. And this is how Satya ensures that he gets the best of all the answers. And so this is how the creators, developers, come in and set up everything. Hopefully that makes sense. The second part of it is you now want a friendly experience where any user can come in and just type in their question. And so you may notice on the top left-hand corner, you'll see on the left navigation, there's a new Copilot option, shipping, in Power BI. It's available today. It will be available in a couple of weeks. And when you click that button, you'll get this fully fledged Google search ChatGPT-like experience directly inside here. And you as a user, just like Satya can come in, he can just type in his questions directly inside this experience. He can find suggestions. And the great thing is we look at all the things that you as a user have access to. So it's not going to search for things that Satya doesn't have access to. It's going to respect row-level security, object-level security. And so in the example that I'm going to show you the Hawaii tourism data again. I'm going to pretend I'm Satya. In this case, it says I'm Tori, but let's just assume I'm Satya. I'm just going to type in my question. And the first thing we do is we do a semantic search. We return you a list of artifacts that rank the highest to answer that question. And then when you select one of those ones, we'll give you the answer. And this is the same answer that I configured as a creator in the desktop. So now I'm bringing the two worlds together. And the great thing is Copilot shows you the data it used. It shows you the filters it applied. And Satya can also explore the data and use just clicky, clicky, draggy, droppy, because that's what he's normally used to compared to using natural language. And some things are better to do with clicks than doing natural language. Like Satya can just go in here, add more categories. He can easily add a filter. So we really make it easy to kind of switch between natural language and data exploration right in a single pane of glass, right in a single place inside the product. And Satya here is going crazy. He's changing the visualizations, really making use of all of his skills in Power BI, and is really just making sure he's got the right data information at his fingertips. Now I can close here, and I can actually ask a summarized question. So Satya wants to summarize some key insights. And what we do is we give you like a newspaper view of the insights. So if you ask a very fuzzy question, we'll give you multiple visuals, multiple insights directly inside this experience to help allow you to answer the question. And so this is really good for when you ask, like, why did something drop in value? And this could be like multiple visuals telling you the story of like sales dropped in March because the weather was terrible in Seattle in March, which it always is. And it gives you the answer directly here as well. And the final thing is you can also tag. Like Satya can be like, oh, specifically for the HR data set, I want to ask this question. So you can use the same gestures that you get inside ChatGPT, where you can tag the specific artifact that you want to ask the question to. And if we detect that the answer is low quality or was not prepped by the author, we'll give Satya a warning. He has to click View Answer to get an answer to that question. And this, again, is making sure Satya understands that there are things that are prepped for AI that developers have put effort in, and there are things that developers have not yet had time to put effort in and get the answer. And the great thing is and I'm going to go segue to the next section, is you can also tag inside the same experience for consumers data agents. And to talk more about data agents, I'm going to welcome Nellie on stage.
Thank you, Mo. Is this on? Oh, you're going to hide there, or you're going to sit?
No, I was going to sit down.
Yeah,
sorry.
OK, so let's talk about data agents. But before we do, how many of you have actually had a chance to be hands-on in Microsoft Fabric? Hands up if you've had. All right, quite a few hands. Yeah, the front row doesn't count. And how many of you have had a chance to try out, or let's say, how many of you have heard about data agents in Microsoft Fabric? OK, fewer hands. And I'm assuming that all of you have heard about Power BI and stuff. So OK. So this helps me to kind of know how deep we go into this. So Fabric data agents is a relatively new experience. We actually renamed it because originally when we launched data agents back last year, it was called the AI skill. So we decided to rename it because it really didn't do it justice, the old name, right? It was hard to understand what it was. We hope that you like the new name, because what it actually is an agent that can help you reason across your data in one lake. So just like Mo was kind of explaining that, hey, we can enhance the semantic models. We can add certain configurations on the semantic model or Power BI data set to be able to make it enhanced for AI. We wanted to provide an experience where you can build a fully customized agent that can reason on top of other data sources in one lake. And as you saw Mo showing, the data agent also can show up as one of the items in Fabric that can answer questions from that home Copilot experience. So essentially, you can enhance your semantic models, but if you want to go broader and have a custom agent reason across many different types of sources inside of Microsoft Fabric, then you can use data agents and you can combine these in that kind of Copilot experience. Now, obviously, a data agent will need to reason over data. So what we introduced essentially is a conversational agent that can reason over various different data source types inside of Fabric. So today, if you have lakehouses or warehouses, even semantic models or Power BI data sets are supported in event houses. But in the fullness of time, you're going to see any data that you have in one lake being supported by a data agent. And an agent obviously needs context and configurations. It needs various different sets of tools. And when we talk about tools in this case, is that today it's the tools that we provide inside the data agent experience. I'm going to show you a demo in a little bit so you can see what it looks like. But essentially, when I mention a tool, I'm kind of thinking of things like natural language to SQL, or a natural language to retrieving an answer from a semantic model, which can be DAX or other things, or KQL, natural language to KQL. So these are tools that our engineering teams are investing in, and we offer those tools as part of the data agent experience, and those are the ones that are being leveraged. But in the future, you're going to see a lot more different tools coming up. And most importantly, you have creators in your organization, people who know the data, the data well, maybe know the schemas well, the business domain well, right, and know essentially where this data comes from, what certain things mean. And these people are creators that can configure a data agent. But you probably have a lot more consumers that want to consume this agent, right? And for that, we have a number of different surface areas where you can consume a data agent. And you're going to see more of these, so this is just the starting point. So for example, the most simplest way to share a data agent is actually to share the item inside of Fabric. Just like you can share a report, you can share a data agent, you can give a consumer read-only rights, and all they see is essentially a chat with the data. But you can also build on top of the data agent and use the data agent basically as a tool inside your other agentic solutions. So for example, we're going to talk about that in a bit around AI Foundry. We have some announcements around Copilot Studio as well. And ultimately, a lot of users want to get to Teams, and that's where Copilot Studio really comes in. And of course, the Power BI Copilot experience. But there's a lot more on the roadmap, because we want you to essentially use the data agent either as a standalone agent that you kind of have conversations with, or use it as essentially an MCP server that you can call from your own applications. All right, so this is a kind of a simplified view of what it takes to build a data agent, like the steps that you have to go through. So obviously, you first create the agent. This is great because when you create an item inside of Microsoft Fabric, you get essentially that lineage automatically tracked. You can manage permissions on it. You can share it. There's a lot of things that you get for free by just making this an item, a first-class citizen inside of Fabric. The next step is to, similar to what Mo explained, that for any agent that needs to be grounded on data, you need to essentially pick what data do I want. And sometimes you also need to be more specific than just the source. You need to even go ahead and select parts of the schema of these databases when we're talking about structured data in this case, right? So table selection is something we support today. You're going to see us move more into column selection and more granular selection as well. And then you kind of configure this agent. And how can you do that? Well, it's instructions, natural language instructions, because essentially this is prompt engineering. And what you're doing is that you're programming, but with natural language instead of code. And you're instructing your agent on how you want it to manage certain types of questions, right? And give it more context. And then the last step is really around, like, you can publish a data agent. And once you publish the data agent, you now have a version. That's the version that you essentially deploy. So when you publish a data agent, it gets an endpoint. And that endpoint is the one that's used today, for example, to integrate with AI Foundry. We're going to talk more about this in a bit. But let's take a look at a demo of what an experience can look like for a creator to build a data agent. So here, we're inside Fabric. We're going to go ahead and create a new item, this data agent item. So I can just search for it among my other item types, and I can go ahead and create it. And everything that I show you here is also going to be possible from APIs, by the way. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a name. And then I can dive into my creator experience. And note that I'm the creator of the data agent now, right? I'm not the end user. I'm not the kind of business user or someone who's consuming this agent. So I immediately land in this data agent creator experience. And the first step is to add my data sources. Here, I can mix and match from a number of data sources. So I don't only have to add one. We have multi-data source support. I can pick from semantic models, lakehouses and warehouses, even event house KQL databases, and there's more coming. So I'm going to go ahead and select one data source at first. I'm going to start off with a semantic model, a Power BI dataset that has customer loyalty information. right? This is not a massive semantic model. It's actually kind of a small one, but I'm going to go ahead and select and do that schema selection of selecting both of the two different tables that this one had. And I can immediately start testing it, right? I can ask, who are the top 5 loyalty customers? And given that I only have one source, it's pretty easy for the agent at this stage to go ahead and figure out which source it should query, give me an answer. But more importantly, we also show the agent's run steps. Right? So you can even see what are the steps that the agent took to retrieve this answer. In this case, it was a DAX query that was returning this answer. But let's add another data source. Let's go ahead and add a lakehouse that also contains customer data, but more customer sales data. And this lakehouse has a schema that has a lot more tables. So I'm going to be more selective. Since I want this agent to know everything about customers, products, and some of our internet sales, I'm going to select those tables. And that kind of limits the agent's scope on what it can answer questions on top of. And then I can go into agent instructions. And then in this case, I had 2 sources. So it might be good for me to clarify what the sources contain, give it a little bit of metadata so that the agent can reason and pick the source better. And I'm going to ask, well, what else can you share about these top customers, right? And in this case, the agent's going to have to figure out where to pick customer data. But this is actually a trick question, because both of my sources contain customer data. And I can see that I get a ton of details back. That's great. But let me look at the run steps and see how it retrieved this. And I can see that I still get a DAX query. So it seems like it's not doing a wrong thing here, but I have more up-to-date data in the lakehouse. So I want to instruct it further to go and retrieve customer details from the lakehouse. Another tool that I have at my disposal is to provide example queries where I can, as a creator, I may know what type of T-SQL statement I want to be used here. So I can actually instruct and say, when you get a question of this kind, what additional details can you provide about a customer? This is the query that I want you to use. And in this case, I want to limit the number of details that the agent returns about customers by using the example query. And here you can see that the answer looks different because it's now using my example query. And if I go and look into my steps, I can see that in this case, it retrieved using the T-SQL query. All right. So in this way, I can basically kind of evolve my agent. So I took this agent, I worked on it for a week, tweaked it a little bit more. And we're going to take a look at the version that I spent some more time on, right? Because it takes time to prompt engineer, and you may even have to loop in several people who have business domain knowledge, schema knowledge, et cetera. So in this case, this data agent has another additional data source. It has package delivery data from an 𝗦𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗀 database. So this is essentially real-time data from Fabric real-time solution that's landed in this event house. You can also see that my instructions are more elaborate. There's a lot more there, and my example queries are more. I have, for example, more KQL queries in this case to direct my agent on the deliveries. So now I can ask more sophisticated questions. I can say, hey, for diamond status loyalty customers, show me the number of late deliveries and break it down per customer name. All right, so I'm going to give my agent some time here, and note that it's now reasoning across these sources and has to pick the right tool and the right source for this. And it also has to figure out which steps, which order it should run the steps in. So I can see that I get an answer, but as a creator, I'm always interested in how it retrieved the answer, right? Not just the answer. So I can verify it was correct. All right, so here we can see that it was a multi-step question, so it actually went through different sources. It first had to go through the semantic model to retrieve the top customer names, but it can't really join those with the lakehouse because the IDs don't match. So it then had to go through the lakehouse and using those customer names actually retrieve the customer IDs, because to get the late deliveries, it actually needed those customer IDs to go into the third data source, which was a delivery database, to retrieve the late deliveries. So essentially, this is an AI-level join that is doing across these using my instructions, right? So this kind of shows you the power of an agent being able to reason across many sources and figuring out the steps itself with some help from the creator. So as the last question, I also want to show that we can reason on top of the results that we've gotten, right? So I can say, hey, what are the reasons for some of these late deliveries? Can you categorize the reasons for me and highlight the delivery couriers that frequently had delayed deliveries? Maybe I want to reach out to them, right? So, and in this case, it not only retrieved my delivery notes, it actually did synthesize them a bit, analyze them a bit, and said, hey, here are the different categories of late deliveries, and here are the different couriers that had frequent late deliveries. So just to show you an example that it's not always the query that's helping the agent, it can also reason over the result sets that you're getting. And as a final step, I can go ahead and publish my data agent. I can give it a rich description. This is pretty important because this is how other agents and other systems are going to discover and find your data agent. For example, the Copilot that Mo was showing. So this description is very important. All right, so, and we're going to go through how you can consume these experiences. But hopefully that gave you a good idea of how you can leverage a data agent. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and let's talk about other ways in which you can use and configure and even invoke data agents. So last month, we released a data agent SDK. This is today invocable inside of Fabric notebooks, but we are working on making this essentially something you can invoke from outside of Fabric as well. And this really helps to automate either the creation and configuration of the data agent, even testing and automating all of that, like if you want to do evaluation, et cetera, but also for you to be able to invoke the data agent through the SDK, right? Just essentially, I just want the answers. So you can do both building it, configuring it, and invoking it just to get question answers. So this is something new that we've released. And again, there's a client library that's on PyPy where you can just install it. And we have full guidance on this in our documentation. We'll have all the links in the end so that you can get to. Another important piece is that when you're building an agent, it's very important that you can test and evaluate this agent. And being able to do it in a way that you can automate these tests, right? And for that, we also last week launched some guidance in notebooks, sample notebooks, that show you inside of Fabric how you can actually evaluate and test these agents against a ground truth data set where you know the right answers, right? And you can essentially evaluate it and have another LLM judge the responses, and you can get a score, et cetera. So links to this will also be available towards the end. All right, but now let's talk about ways in which you can actually consume data agents and how you can build on top of data agents from other solutions. Azure AI Foundry is a place where many customers of Microsoft are now building these agentic AI applications, right? And that's actually a place where you can, in public preview today, consume data agents. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So in the Azure AI Foundry agent service, you can actually add a data agent to your existing agent. So here I already created an agent in agent service, a Contoso agent, and it's using GPT-4o. And if I go into the knowledge section of this agent, I can add a Microsoft Fabric connection to a data agent. And this is going to evolve. In the future, you'll be able to pick in a nice picker experience. But for now, you can put the workspace ID and artifact ID and essentially create this connection to your data agent. And once you've done this, you've now added essentially your data agent as a tool, as a knowledge tool in this case, in Foundry, to your Foundry agent, which means that if I go into the Foundry playground and invoke this agent that I'd created, my Contoso agent, and ask it, for example, how many loyalty customers do we have, right? Kind of related to the data that we just saw, the agent that we just configured. We can then have the Foundry agent invoke the other agent that's going to go and retrieve the data from Fabric and give it back. And in this way, you could essentially combine different types of agents in the Foundry layer and then build your applications on top of that. So that's one way you can do that. Let's also talk about an exciting announcement that we have, because today we're actually excited to announce the public preview of the Fabric data agent also in Copilot Studio, right? And there's been a lot of interest in this integration, and it's going to be available for all customers in the next month. Just know that it's going to take us a few weeks to kind of roll this out. But once this is available, you can also do kind of a similar thing that you did in Foundry. We can now do it from Copilot Studio, completely no code. And then also get your agents into Microsoft Teams, which is a very desired destination to be able to consume these agents. So let's take a quick look at what that looks like. All right, so here we have a data agent, and we're going to go ahead and publish it, just like we published the previous one. This one has a very rich description. I don't know why this is flickering. Is it flickering also for you, the screen? OK, all right. So now that we've published our data agent in Fabric, we can go into Copilot Studio, and here we can navigate to agents, right? And this is a new category where we can actually go ahead and add the data agent that we just published. And once we do that, it's now one of the tools that our master sales agent in Copilot Studio can invoke, kind of in a very similar concept, right? And I don't know why this is flickering. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. And the nice thing about this is that Copilot Studio offers a multitude of different channels through which you can publish these agents. And this now the master sales agent that can talk to a data agent can be published to teams. The nice thing about this is that now you can essentially have this agent potentially not only invoke one data agent, you can even layer it with actions in Copilot Studio. You can add other agents, maybe other data agents as well. Essentially combine these into one agent that can solve for a lot of questions, but also actions on top of your domain and your scenarios, right? So this is a very exciting scenario that we're enabling. So stay tuned for when this kind of becomes available in all the regions out there. All right, so here you can see that we can ask these questions directly from Teams, et cetera. All right. So Mo already covered this, data agent in Copilot for Power BI. So I'm going to go ahead and actually skip the next demo. I think Mo showed the, this was just more of an animation where we had essentially say that, hey, if you are in the Copilot for Power BI, and ask questions. You can, of course, add the item, and you can ask it something directly. But data agents will also show up on the list of, let's say I ask a question like, hey, what are the best-selling video games? In this case, the Copilot in Power BI is going to go and figure out that, oh, wait, I have a data agent that probably could answer this correctly. You can see the gaming agent on the screen there. And then I can engage in a conversation with that agent directly from this interface. So you don't have to jump across different interfaces to be able to talk to all of your agents, right? Which is a really great thing. All right. So with that, I also wanted to super briefly talk to you about other capabilities, right? So we talked about data agent, but oftentimes when you're working with AI, the different flaws in your data may actually be more exposed because now everyone can chat with the data, right? Everyone's going to see the issues and the quality flaws and other things. And you may actually want to pre-process some of the data and enrich it even before you have an agent reason over it. Or maybe you just want that for your reporting and your data engineering workflows. So I wanted to call out that we also have another category of investments in AI in Fabric that are probably catering more to code-first users, essentially if you prefer to use code, to essentially more seamlessly be able to enrich data. I wanted to call that out here before we move to the next section. So we've introduced AI functions, which is a set of 8 different functions that should really make it super easy for any data engineer that's using Python, that's using Spark out there to even pre-process data and essentially make it ready potentially for AI, but also for other scenarios using AI, right? So a lot of these things, if you want to do batch processing on it before it even reaches an agent, this would be the scenario for that. So let's kind of walk through what type of AI agent we have. So here, you can see the full list of the different agents, the functions. I'm sorry, it's so much agent that I'm, slipping here. But AI functions. So for example, you have functions to find similarity, to classify, to do a number of things. So we're going to share some links around this too. But I also wanted to call this out to know that we are not only investing in these kind of agentic experiences. There's a lot of value in injecting AI in your data engineering workflows, even before you start to put copilots and agents and other things on top of it. So for example, you can do classification without training an ML model. You can just have the AI say, hey, I have product reviews. Can you classify them for me? Or I have these columns of translations. Can you translate this to a different language, etc.? So in the interest of time, I'm going to have to unfortunately skip the demo. And let's talk to one of our customers now about their experience using Copilot in Power BI, data agents, AI functions, so that you can essentially hear it from a real customer. So I'm going to welcome Genis Campa on stage. Welcome, Genis. And we also added a little slogan for you, Barcelona. And take it away, Genis, and share your experience.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me good? Yeah? So thanks for the Barca thing. You know I love football a lot, so thank you. I'm Genis Campa. I'm working on entity data, and I'm leading the data and innovation team inside IT. So one of our mantras is when we see new tech that it's valuable to us on a data stack, it's a call to action, and we need to test it and try what we can do with it. So we build these kind of situations, we look where to launch it, and we do. And today I will try to explain you a bit some of the use cases we've done with the different tools that Mo and Nellie just showed to us. So thank you for that. Before getting to the details, you need to understand a bit how we are orchestrating our data strategy in the data consumption piece. We have hub teams that are mainly IT, and we've been working for the past, probably when you are a smaller company, these kind of situations happen to you a lot. And we were in Power BI, just having dashboard and self-reporting and sandboxes and blah, blah, blah for this hub team. But with Premium, we get to that new experiences when we can start to have spokes and specialized teams on different areas that work a bit more on that. And now that we have AI, that spokes team can go from data retrieval to data reasoning. They start talking to their data, they start doing things with all the stack on the Fabric environment, and they are starting to use AI a lot on their reasoning part. So on this scenario we have here, what are the use cases I want to talk to you about today? There's one on the data agents piece. It's been done a conversational agent on headcount and on timesheets. That it's something really important for us. I will explain to you in a bit the results of that activity. We also enabled Copilot for all the data products we have in production. It's been released to more than 60,000 employees, and the results on their adoption, I think they are quite important. And we are going to look at the end of the session on AI functions that Nellie just mentioned and how they help us being quicker and more efficient on having analytic sentiments and this kind of stuff. So let's go to the data agent piece. We were used to think which were my numbers and track specifically metric and have a description on that using Power BI, Access databases, Excel, etc. But now what we are thinking and what we are starting to do is asking why these numbers are in some situations and trying to interpret them a bit. So we are starting to talk against our numbers. And we are getting to the wall of agentic, of fabric data agents, and to the interoperability of them. And what we are looking today on Microsoft Build, it's what's coming, no? What's the ambition we have as IT developments. We want to make decisions against our data thanks to all of this. So interoperability, Copilot, Teams is a keystone in our daily job to get to that reality. But the base, data is the fuel of all of these topics. So how it's performing. This was in September. It was the first AI skills private preview we tested. And when we did first results, we were a bit scary. Like, maybe we are in the 40% of accuracy, so I don't know if I can work with this. And well, we work a bit with Microsoft. We put a full team together, people from Microsoft, people from Entity, start to exchange a lot of meetings, start to work together, and we decided to first divide and conquer. And we see from a data set of timesheets where we had information from employees and we had information where they were working on to divide the use cases into. So we created an agent on headcount and an agent on timesheets. And we saw that the accuracy and the results just changed a lot. So we started working on that. And the first interactions, they were, you can see, timesheets really working more or less good until the end, especially. And it was about putting all this information that Nellie showed you how the process is. No? You put the prompts, you tell when it works, when it doesn't, what it has to do, checking in. And at the end, we started to have this kind of accuracy, which is perfect to work with. And more importantly, we had consistency on the results. So we know when an agent can work and when an agent is not working properly. So then we did a release, and we changed the back of the AI skills and become a data agent itself. And it started to pump it a bit, which scared us again, but timesheets is still in there. And what happened bad with these new data agents? We can mix now new sources. We can mix new things into the same one. So we say, well, maybe we can put them together again, but we need that second line, the headcount line, to get upper, so we can make sure our agent answers to everything correctly. And what in the private previews, we are looking at the numbers right now. We are getting to that accuracy that we can rejoin and have a data agent that answers you headcount questions and timesheets and publish it into Teams for all our company. So this is being a story till now in this scenario. And OK, what's our conclusions? First, development, and I think for all of us this is quite important. We only need business analysts with basic data skills, with knowledge on the business, knowledge on what you need to track, but we are not looking at high skills profiles here. So it helps us a lot on building a lot of data agents. We can train quickly people to do this and to advance on that. And second, the consumption. This is crazy. No? We are not targeting to consumption on people that are skilled on SQL. We are giving conversational data into people that are business related. So the personas are quite important in this area. Second, a hidden insight. Generative AI on text to query is challenging. I mean, we are seeing all are pursuing this, and it's giving us a really hard time. But with human development, with brief notes about what's the information that actually the agent needs, we are achieving really great results. And right important, we are having results that are constantly on their accuracy. So you know if they work, they work. And last, a bit of a vision. No? We are seeing in these data agents, and all the Microsoft build is on this right now. No? The data consumption, it's changing. We are pouring data into an agentic world. We are starting to talk with data. We are not doing reporting anymore. We are talking against our numbers, which is a crazy thing to look at. So that was the first use case on data agents. This was using Copilot and how people react in the release on Power BI. And we started on May 24 when first general availability was released. And, well, we had at the beginning a subset of people, not a small, big subset of people playing with it. And out of curiosity, it had a hype, but it was lowering a bit down. So we decided to do, OK, let's try some proof of concept. Let's try where it can be used, where it cannot be used, and try to learn that. So we started to prepare ourselves to have this knowledge. And when we stopped doing that proof of concepts, it just went a bit down again. And we ran, OK, now from the proof of concepts, we know when to use it, how to use it, and we run a program on culture. I mean, we need to tell people when this is useful and where it's not. And this changes a lot. So we saw that the numbers and consumption were up again. That attached to the FabCon releases that were amazing, we decided, OK, now it's time. And we just launched it to 60,000 people, and just going up like crazy. People is giving us really, congratulations, you did this, OK. And let's see how it ends up, maybe the next Microsoft build. So thank you for this one. Last but not least, and I like this really a lot, because one of the first projects I was asked when I took the actual job was, we have this HR-specific use case that we do a survey until all our employees to know how is the climate of the company. Do you like working here? Are you aware of this? How is your daily day? You know, these kind of conversations. And they asked me, why don't you do a process to analyze all these answers? Because we have thousands of them. We cannot do it manually. So we built a complex solutions. We had to leverage things on 3 different cloud providers. We have to call different APIs. We need a really hard team that knew things how to do it. Like it was 3 expert guys working on this 6 months. So we finally end up with a solution that tells you our topics and our sentiment on that topics, and we generated added value. So we were kind of proud of that. And then they released AI functions on Copilot Power BI. We replicate the same in a month with this year job, just in Fabric. No Azure subscriptions, no crazy stuff to do, just Fabric, easy, Office 365, easy. But the craziest thing is numbers went up. Accuracy went up to 79% on the sentiment and to 69% on the topic classification. The LLMs are now that good that they started to interpret irony perfectly. We did quicker and we did better. So it was a really use case, and I love to explain it to you today. So thank you. This has been our experience on the features Nellie and Mo showed to us. So please come back and tell us our roadmap. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Are these on? Yeah, I think they're on.
I have no idea. We'll just talk.
We'll just talk.
You can hear us? Thank you.
Yes. So, well, we walked you through kind of a little bit of these pillars, right, Mo?
We tried.
Yes. And hopefully you have a better sense of what type of AI capabilities that exist inside of Microsoft Fabric. There's the Copilot experiences, kind of the chat with your data experiences that Mo said, and also some of the custom AI solutions where you can build data agents, you can use AI functions. And Genis kind of explained, how NTT Data have been using those. All right, so let's do a recap, or maybe I just did the recap, I feel like.
You recapped it, but we can just briefly talk to the slide. So for so chat with your data in Power BI, the thing I showed you guys, today's desktop release for Power BI Desktop includes the prep for data AI. In about 2 weeks, you'll have that brand new Copilot experience, full page that you can go and use. And we will love your feedback, so please share it. And then Nellie, what did you announce?
Yes, so the Fabric data agents, one of the major things that we talked about was the Copilot Studio integration. That essentially allows you to build data agents and add them to agents in Copilot Studio and then expose those in Microsoft Teams. So that's essentially one of the best ways to get to Teams. But in addition to that, the integration with the Copilot and Power BI. Right, so you can essentially also have your business users get insights on top of other data in one lake, besides the reports and the semantic models. AI functions, we released those in end of March, we are constantly evolving those. So that's one of the highlights as well. So we'll give you those in the links so you can go and learn more. And they're really dead easy to use. It's a single line of code. But we also are adding more of these low-code AI experiences for developers inside of Fabric. So inside the Fabric notebooks, for example, we not only have Copilot, but you can use Data Wrangler, which is one of the most popular tools for wrangling data with Python. And we have this tool inside of Fabric. You can use it with Python and Spark data frames. And we're adding more AI operations inside of Data Wrangler, which is essentially allowing you to clean and prep your data using AI as well in a low-code fashion. And very recently, last week, we launched the AI-powered code completion inside of notebooks as well. You have to enable it manually, and once you do, you get that code completion inside the notebook cells. So those are some of the recaps, and I gave you some extra ones there that we didn't cover here, so there's a lot more to learn. But let's talk about roadmap, right?
So, okay, I'll talk about the Power BI roadmap, and I'm sorry, I forgot which order I wrote them in. Okay, so for the chat with the data experience, Satya announced today we're going to be releasing that same experience. So imagine you go into the M365 Copilot, you type in a question like, what is my total sales? guess what? It will answer it from Power BI, return your Power BI visual directly in Office. That'll be releasing soon, and wait for a big announcement for that. Copilot in Power BI and apps, so we're going to have that same full-page experience for your dedicated apps. We know a lot of people love org apps inside Power BI, so that will be there as well. We're going to improve the answer coverage so you can ask more convoluted questions like explain the increase or decrease, like help me understand or forecast, like just more of the, adding more support for questions that your users may want to do. We also will be announcing embedded support. So if you guys are trying to do SAS embedding or PaaS embedding, they are on our roadmap that we're trying to address as well. We are going to have MCP support as well. As you can imagine, that was a big talking point at the conference. And then also, I put this as a sneak peek. I'm not going to explain it because I'll get in trouble, but we are going to give user personalization, learn from how you use Copilot, and actually make a Copilot for you. And we'll have more announcements for this in the coming months as well. And then Nellie, what about your roadmap?
So there's a lot on the roadmap on the AI side for building your custom AI solutions. On the data agent side, as I mentioned, we are expanding the types of data that's supported. So very soon, we're going to launch a private preview, and it will go public eventually on unstructured data. So you may have documents and files in one lake, and you want to combine structured and unstructured sources and reason over those and build an agent on that. So we'll support that. But also mirrored databases, I know is a big ask, so that you can reason over your data, maybe that you're mirroring from Oracle or Snowflake or elsewhere, right? On top of those databases as well. We have a REST endpoint today, but it's not, you can't call it from outside Fabric. So we're going to enable that with service principal support. So you get that security on an endpoint that you essentially can call from any application. Should give you enough freedom to call it from any custom application, even outside of Copilot Studio, outside of Azure. So that's exciting, using the MCP protocol. CI/CD and Git support is coming in June for the data agent. So essentially all your configurations, everything is backed by Git. You can do version control and essentially automate and build your CI/CD pipelines. And also observability, allowing you to monitor or creators to monitor the feedback on the agent from their consumers and being able to essentially take action on top of that. These are some of the things that are on our roadmap. On the AI functions side, AI functions, you can use them in notebooks today and you can call them from Python or Spark, but they're going to be everywhere. So you're going to be able to invoke AI functions directly from T-SQL, also from data flows, etc., all over Fabric. That's kind of the goal, wherever you're prepping and need to enrich data. And also AI functions showing up in Data Wrangler is on the roadmap as well. All right, so we've talked to you about a lot of things. There are also some other sessions that we recommend for you to attend. And there's also a QR code there. And if you go to that QR code, it's going to take you to a form with all the links. So you can basically save that link, go to it, and you will have links to essentially everything we talked about and more. There's also a couple of questions there. If you click next, we'll be super happy if you want to share around your use cases, or even maybe say, hey, I want to meet with Nellie or Mo, and I want to talk about some of these features in our use cases. Please fill that in, and we'll reach out to you. So I'm going to stay on this one for a little bit so that everyone gets a chance to navigate to that. And I think you'll get access to the decks, right?
I have no idea.
All right. Anyway, snap a picture of this so you have it. And last but not least, the Fabric Conference, the annual European Fabric Community Conference is going to happen in Vienna in September. Last year, we were in Sweden, Stockholm, my hometown.
No coincidence that the Eurovision winner was from Austria. No coincidence.
Exactly. That is actually pretty.
No coincidence.
Pretty scary. But yeah, Vienna. Anyway, so sign up for that conference if you're interested in getting all the latest this fall. And with that, a huge thank you for staying this late. First day of the conference, last session. We really appreciate you coming here, and we're ready for your questions. So you can come up.
There is a mic in the middle.
There's a mic too if you want to.
And we have 5 minutes. happy for you if someone's dying for a question,
Yes.
for you to get up and share it for the world to see. If not, we'll
If
be
not,
at the
just
back.
come up to the corner.
You can just come
Yeah.
back. But yeah, thank you guys so much. No one is dying for a question.
No one is grabbing the mic.
It's okay. Thank you guys.